Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Wednesday and welcome back to our series on the Havamal. This week we're looking at verse 67 and as always examining 3 different translations. First translation reads, "Here and there to a home I had haply been asked had I needed no meat at my meals, and were 2 hams left hanging in the house of that friend where I had partaken of one." That's Olive Bray. Second translation. "Some would invite me to visit their homes, but none thought I needed a meal, as though I had eaten a whole joint just before with a friend who had 2. That's W.H. Auden and P.B. Taylor. And third translation from the Cowboy Havamal. "People ain't always sincere when they say they'll give you something. You don't know it for a fact till it's in your hands. Don't take anybody at just his word." And that, of course, is Dr. Jackson Crawford. Hospitality is important, and having a hospitable spirit and actions is considered virtuous in Norse spirituality. Even before my studies began, I would never have dreamt of not at least offering a guest something to drink, even if they turned up quite unexpectedly. And if I had anything, just around to nibble on, scones or cookies or something of that sort, it was an absolute matter of course that I would offer such to anyone who visits my home. It's just what you ought to do. Now, in the case of this verse, the spirit was actually invited to someone's home, but then they were not cared for. Nothing elaborate would have been needed, just drink and the same food that anyone else was eating at the time, but instead the speaker was neglected. And considering that Odin is considered to be the narrator of the Havamal, it is doubly problematic that he was not shown care or respect as a guest. Imagine having the Allfather on your doorstep and not even bothering to offer him tea or something a bit stronger. That hardly strikes me as the course of wisdom, and it's certainly not the conduct of a good host. It's good to know how to be giving to people who are welcome in our homes, and it's good to grow beyond any social awkwardness we may feel. It isn't good to have a life with next to no human connections. It just isn't healthy. Now, the Jackson Crawford translation took a somewhat different lens to this verse, and it counseled against putting too much stock in what people say without reference to what they actually do. Actions do indeed speak louder than words. And when people make statements or they say they intend to do something, it's just words. And if you don't know the person very well, or if the individual doesn't have a good track record for following through, then their words are just words, and that's all they remain, and they shouldn't be treated with any particular weight or taken seriously. When a person's word, what does give a person's word meaning and power is if they have consistently done deeds that back up what they say. When people actually take the trouble to do, that reveals who they really are and what they actually believe. And any statements to the contrary is just nothing more than hot air, and it's likely to amount to them deceiving themselves more than anyone listening to them. It's sensible to keep a realistic perspective on what people say, even if they don't intend to deceive or they're not generally flaky. Sometimes circumstances arise that renders it impossible for them to accomplish what they intend to do. So another old-fashioned expression that would serve this verse very well is don't count your chickens before they hatch. So that's what I got out of our Havamal verse this week. Let me know what you got out of it in the comment section below, or come pay us a visit on Gilded. Our server is named Blackbird's Brew, and there's a link in the description for you to be able to join us. So you'd be very welcome among us there if you do decide to do that. But that will do it for this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.